Flintstones, they're the modern
I spend a lot of time talking about West Edmonton Mall, and about all the attractions that are, or were once found, within its walls. And while Galaxyland, formerly known as Fantasyland, today stands as one of the world's largest indoor amusement parks, the province of Alberta is also home to another notable amusement park. Located just 300 kilometers south of North America's largest mall, Calaway Park operates not only as Western Canada's largest amusement park, but also as Western Canada's oldest. But things weren't always so peachy for Greater Calgary's iconic theme park. And that story takes us all the way back to 1979. In 1979, when a group of investors from across Canada got together and decided to open a theme park on the outskirts of Calgary, Alberta, perfectly situated along the Trans-Canada Highway. It was to be Western Canada's first major theme park. Western Canada's first, as West Edmonton Mall's Fantasyland didn't open until 1983. And even then, it wasn't fully complete until its official grand opening in 1986. As a part of the initial plan for Calgary's theme park, the group paid $500,000 for the licensing rights to feature, and name the park after, the Flintstones.
The Flintstones has been brought to you by Winston, America's best-selling, best-tasting filter cigarette.
Winston tastes good like a cigarette should.
The park was to be called Flintstone Fun Park, and original plans called for the park to have several different areas, or themes. But its primary theme and style was to be, of course, Fred Flintstone's own prehistoric city of Bedrock. And this type of licensing was not new. Flintstone theme parks have existed elsewhere in North America in the 1980s and 1990s. One example being Bedrock City in Kelowna. Well, wait a minute. Didn't I just say that Calgary's Flintstone Fun Park was to be Western Canada's first theme park? Just how could that be if Kelowna's Bedrock City and other parks existed in British Columbia? Well, when you take a look at old footage of those parks, they didn't have large-scale amusement rides. These smaller Flintstone parks, like the one in Kelowna, the one which greeted visitors with a large Fred Flintstone cutout, were certainly themed, but they weren't actually amusement parks. Any attractions, if there were any, were often limited to perhaps a few paddle boats and maybe a train ride. Certainly not what most people would agree qualifies as a full-fledged amusement park. Bedrock City in Kelowna eventually closed down in the 1990s. But, interestingly enough, years later, Google Maps spotted Fred laying in a farmer's field. Wait, what were we talking about? The originally planned Flintstone Fun Park. From the moment it was announced, it was challenged with roadblock after roadblock. The unveiling of the plans to build the park in the community of Springbank, just 10 kilometers west of Calgary, sparked immediate outrage from residents of the area. Concerns centered around the idea that the park would ruin the country lifestyle enjoyed by the local residents. And to this end, residents argued that the park did not comply to the regional plan, which did not allow commercial development in the area. The plan did, however, permit recreational development within the community. And that became the bedrock, no pun intended, of the argument between those in favor of and those opposed to Greater Calgary's Flintstone Fun Park. Was it in fact primarily a recreational development or a commercial one? Rocky View Municipal District, who had the responsibility to rule on the development, agreed that it was a recreational development, and therefore they approved the project. However, this was not a straightforward conclusion. Once the Rocky View Development Board approved the park, local residents rallied against it and appealed the decision. But once again, the Development Board approved the park. Finally, a last-ditch effort by residents to have the local school board lodge an appeal to the Alberta court also failed to stop the project. So, after lengthy disputes and delays, the main hurdles were finally out of the way, and development began on the park. It eventually opened its first phase in 1982, just a year before Galaxyland. Though, by now, it was no longer known by its original name of Flintstone's Fun Park. Instead, the name was changed to what we know it as today, Calaway Park.
We're with you, sharing the moment, the excitement, the laughter, the good times that matter.
There's so much to love close to home.
Together we're coming, together we'll take you there.
Calaway Park.
Oh, so much to share.
Despite the name change, at this point it was still a fully licensed and themed Flintstones amusement park. Advertisements for the park showcased the beloved Bedrock characters, whose likenesses and names were used throughout the park. Calaway Park's opening weekend saw over 13,000 people pass through the entry gates. But the enthusiasm of attendees dwindled rapidly, and the park immediately struggled to stay afloat. Just 8 months after opening, it went into receivership. In a last-ditch effort for relief, the park turned to the Alberta Department of Tourism for assistance. Assistance which they didn't get. Calaway Park's story might have ended there and then, if it weren't for a last-minute deal with Northland Bank. The bank bought the park from the original owners, assuming the $3.5 million worth of debt, and then sold the park back on more favorable terms. And while this turned out to be the Hail Mary which Calaway Park needed, it wasn't such a great investment for Northland Bank. It went under only a few short years later. The deal gave Calaway the extra room it needed to turn things around. It was around this time that the admission price was dropped to improve attendance numbers, and the decision was also made to drop the licensing agreement for use of the Flintstones theme, largely because this would free up hundreds of thousands of dollars for further development of the park, money which was used to bring in new rides and attractions. And despite a persisting $17 million worth of debt, the park saw its first profitable season in 1985, and was able to continue that very same success in subsequent years. And the rest, as they say, is a page right out of history. And today, if you walk through the gates at Alberta's largest running amusement park, the first thing you'll notice are the not-so-subtle buildings, whose architecture traces back to its original theme. The gift shops, restaurants, games, and especially the lookout tower, which you can see from virtually anywhere in the park, are all throwbacks to the original Calaway Park. Almost Greater Calgary's own Flintstone Fun Park. Did you know that Calaway Park was once a Flintstones theme park? Would you like it if they had kept the theme? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel, give us a like and a share, and maybe even visit our Patreon page. And why not check out one of our other videos, mostly about the greatest indoor show on earth, West Edmonton Mall. Oh, and thanks for watching.